Oh, welcome to the Business Spotlight. Today I'm joined by James, and James is from EcoSquare, and they are industry leading providers of sustainable building solutions. It's so great to have you on today, James. Very welcome.
Thanks, Alida. Thanks for inviting me. Um,
Uh, yeah, let's dive straight in. So what do you do? For how long have you been doing it? How's it been as a business owner up to this point?
so I started my company called EcoSquare back in March 2019, which seems quite wild now. That's almost 6 years, coming up to 6 years. Um, Time has certainly flown by. Yeah, it was a bit of a normal standard start, as in quit my job and went off on my own back then, and since then grown it to where it is now. So yeah, we're getting there.
Right, excellent. And tell us a little bit more about what it is exactly that you do and provide your customers.
So predominantly, we work in a very specialist niche, which is actually water tank relining and water tank replacements. So we work with a wider array of commercial clients up and down the country, including Ireland now as well. We've even carried out a few projects there, where they have a need to have their tanks refurbished, which is usually due to government regulations and things like that, which highlight that it needs to be carried out. As you can imagine, quite niche. There isn't too many people that do carry out these sort of works, and we're one of those, and can take on all sizes of projects now, to be quite honest. So yeah, from fairly small projects, which we carry out sometimes in even homes, up to castles, skyscrapers, data centers, things like that. So across the board, really.
Oh, brilliant. Sounds really exciting. What's been the best project or one that stands out for you that you've worked on?
Um, there's been two really, that are both vastly different, but the main one that really sticks out was probably about 3 years ago now. We were invited to complete a project in Buckingham Palace, which was very interesting to be involved, to say the least. Quite daunting because the tank was a leaky water tank, which was above the organ, which is obviously very valuable, where people were actually knighted. So it's quite something to take on. But yeah, we're glad we got that finished, and then moved on from there. And then the second project, which really stood out, was actually one we finished last year, which was a huge 500,000 litre tank for a data center in North London. Absolutely huge. It's like a football pitch sized tank. So that one really stood out, and also that aligned us with much higher levels of protocol, which is required from higher end clients essentially. So it's a good one to get that one done, and know we can step up our game as well. So yeah.
Nice. That sounds really exciting, projects that you're working on. So what would you say set you apart from others in your industry? You said you're very niched, but what would you say is kind of your unique selling proposition?
I would say that customers like us because we allow them to continue with their day-to-day job. So we often have a lot of clients that come to us where they can't carry out these sort of works in-house or anything like that. And they could be quite time poor sales guys, etc. That would rather just have someone else take the pain away. So we're very good at doing a one-stop shop, full turnkey delivery of a project. And yeah, that definitely is something that we focus on. And from there, basically that's pretty much it really. It's just been a one-stop shop for our clients. And also we're quick at getting back to people. That was the other thing I was going to say. So we're very quick at turning around quotes, and yeah, that's really something within our industry that can sometimes be um, something that lets a lot of customers down, where people don't get back to them. So it's something we pride ourselves on.
Yeah, no, for sure. Sure. That's really great. So, what would you say is one of the biggest lessons you've learned building and running a business?
They're definitely not to dwell on things for too long. When obviously mistakes do happen and things like that is obviously natural. Um, I like to say that from the beginning, when I started 5 years to where I am now, I've been able to deal with a higher sort of threshold of stress, so to speak, and know how to, when problems do happen, know how to resolve them as quickly as possible and then move on to the next thing. If not, you can just drag situations out and dwell too much. That's definitely been something I've learned and got better at doing as well, for sure. Yeah, it's definitely an attribute to work on, almost train really to know when something goes wrong, to just not be in a bad mood for more than, half an hour is what it is. We go again. Um, oh, we lost a project yesterday, for instance, which was a bit of a kicker, but it fell through. It's fine. Move on. When a few years ago, that might have ruined my entire day. But
Yeah.
now you just go. It doesn't matter. There's you crack on to the next situation. So yeah, that's definitely one of the biggest learnings. Yeah, one of them. Yeah, definitely.
Oh, great learning there. What would you say is the most challenging part of running a business and managing a business?
Um, Probably not having any days off. I mean, um, quite literally, you are pretty much always on the go to a certain extent. I delegate as much as I can, anything that's below my pay grade, so to speak. But even then, you're still your head's on the block, so to speak. So you always are that person that people will come to. It just seems absolutely unavoidable. As much as I delegate, as much as I try to farm things out to other people, I still end up just as busy as I was before. Yeah, but getting better at time management and things like that for sure. Yeah.
Oh, brilliant. And what advice would you give to someone that's just starting out in business?
Going back to my point I just said there, I see a lot entrepreneur. I don't even like using that label. I guess I am technically entrepreneur. I can't stand using that labeling, but uh, it's almost fashionable now to be an entrepreneur or have your own business and things like that. That's certainly not why I started. And I think people believe that they can just go sit on the beach in Bali and work 1 hour a day, and that's what being an entrepreneur or business owner is. It couldn't be further from the truth. Quite frankly, 90% of what I do is boring. Like it's just rinse and repeat. It's finding what works, do it over and over again. There isn't. I think every business owner will say the same thing, unless they got a pure lifestyle business, perhaps. But they pretty much are all exactly the same, regardless if you sell like a cool brand compared to what I do, which is, I guess, more of a boring industry. They all fundamentally become pretty much the same once you get past a certain point and there's certain layers to that business. So don't get wrapped up thinking it's just going to be all fun and games and you can just swan around. It's not. It's not that. There is work to be done there, to be fair. So yeah,
Yeah, those are absolute true words there. We often start a business and have an idea, and
yeah.
then it doesn't turn out that way, right? It's a lot
No.
harder work than we initially think it will be. Um, right. So, what would you say, James, is your key to success?
Um, Definitely uh, perseverance. I know it's the same old cliche thing to say, but I've always been good at taking rejection in a way. It's something I've always been able to handle quite well, especially from years in sales as well. I did a lot of cold calling when I was younger, um, and that has really held me fast with just dealing with kickbacks and pushbacks constantly. You just have to keep going and going and going. So yeah, perseverance definitely is up there. And endurance, I guess, I guess that's the same sort of thing, but just know that it it's what the business is priority number one. You always got to constantly be changing, evolving, pushing things forward. Um, yeah, that's definitely helped. And being competitive as well. I'm definitely a very competitive person. There's no denying that. So that crosses over into my sports that I do as well, and other such things. So yeah, definitely. It's definitely helped for sure.
Oh, brilliant. And if you could magically improve one area of your business right now, what would it be?
Um, Probably just there is a to be able to expand probably into another similar aligned niche would be fantastic. But I want to make sure I do that sustainably and not just to jump into something new. It's just something I have been exploring. It's difficult. It's difficult to find that thing that isn't overly saturated, that stands out and still has a big need, and that works with what I already do. I absolutely don't want to be a jack of all trades. I did have a mentor a few years ago that actually said the same thing to me and guided me in saying that that is not where you want to be. You don't want to be offering 20 different services. You want to be good at just a few and be known to be good at that few so they come to you. And that's exactly where I want to be. But if I could add something else to what we already do that's similar, that would definitely be a great benefit to have. That's something I really would like to change if I could, but still searching for that. It's been nearly 6 years, but yeah, yeah.
You use the word sustainability, and it seems to be very much a core value of your business. What does sustainability mean for you?
It's essentially using the resource that's already in place and ensuring that can have a longer life rather than replacing it, for instance. So that really does tie in very well with what we do. A lot of our works we refurbish equipment, if you want to call it that, or water tanks that are already there in a building, etc. So you're making use of something that's 40, 50 years old sometimes, rather than ripping that out and removing it, pushing that into a landfill. If you imagine these are large tanks, large bits of equipment that would be sent to landfill, it's not good at all for the environment. And this service often gets overlooked, but it's a significant amount of wastage that can be caused if you take the route, which often is used to replace something when our services get overlooked, which is obviously refurbishing or relining that piece of equipment, so to speak. So, yeah, definitely, it aligns very well with what we do for sure, from a green point or a green standpoint.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, that sounds really, really amazing. What inspires you currently or in the past?
Um, I think I've always wanted to get into business. To be fair, I've there may be some people I've looked up to over the years and stuff, which have had businesses, and I've always wanted to be like that. Typical cliche thing again. I was that kid that kind of sold sweets on the playground situation when you're younger. That was me, and then yeah, I guess that's bloomed into a slightly different level of that now, so to speak. Yeah, a lot of peers you look up to, really. That's inspired me. I guess there are entrepreneurs out there as well. People like Alex Hormozy, stuff like that,
Yeah.
which I do listen to quite frequently. And Nick Bradley, who you may have not heard, he actually was the guy that mentored me a couple of years ago, which was fantastic. Did help quite a bit to give me a really higher view of what you're doing, some like a sky higher view instead of being bogged down in the nitty gritty bits. They gave me that kind of perspective that I needed on certain things.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, I agree. If I think about my coaches and mentors over the years, they kind of help us see things we don't see in the everyday. So it's so important to
so,
have that. While you're playing the game, it's difficult to see kind of what's happening, right? So it's good to have someone kind of on the outside, but still, viewing your insides. So yeah,
yeah.
that's really good.
Like your head above the parapet is what
That's
one
a
of the
thing.
directors actually said, because you're right in the trenches, so to speak. But
Yes.
yeah, just to be able to look above is quite important, really. Yeah, it can really give you
Yeah.
that different mindset for sure. Like almost a
Yeah.
complete shift in some ways, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely agree. Um, Best book you've ever read, best advice you've ever received, or both, if you have.
Um, not the best book I've ever read. I don't think. I'm trying to think which one that would be. But recently, I read Zero to One by Peter Thiel. It was very good.
Mhm.
Um, I really liked how yeah, he purveyed a few things about like salespeople and stuff like that are like we're all salespeople, like really simplified what we do in business, quite frankly, and it also gives you a lot of advice on being a startup, stuff like that. Very good book that. I think sometimes just talking to the I don't know if it's advice, but just talking to some of the older guys that I know when they have things that go wrong and they're just like, oh, that's life. You crack on. You know,
Yeah,
like that mindset. That's probably how they got to where they were. Um, I really do think that is there's no one is coming out to save you. Basically, there really isn't anyone really who
yeah,
who's going to help you. You've got to really just get on with it. There's no
yeah,
choice there. I think that literally is straight ground level advice. I know, but off the top of my head, that's something I do I do try to adhere to.
yeah, yeah. Ah, no, that is great advice there. Any offers, any latest news about your business that you'd like to mention?
Nothing really at the moment. It's just business as usual. We rebranded, changed our logos and stuff like that. It's something I really was keen to do because the first logo we had was one that I made the same day I quit my job using like combination of paint and Photoshop. So it's nice to have that actually professionally made now. Get to that point. It goes well with kind of where I'm going with dealing with much more corporate businesses now. Um, yeah, so moving forward. Um, yeah, that's I guess that's what you could say. We are cherry picking projects a bit more now. We're not just going for anything. It's not that we ever did do that, but yeah, making sure they are the projects that we want to be involved with. Um, and yeah, I guess niching down even more to a certain extent. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, excellent, excellent. James, that was a really great you sharing all of your experiences and advice. So much to learn from you. So thanks again for coming on to the
Thank
Business
you.
Spotlight.
Appreciate that. Thanks for your time.